And hello brother, good to
What's
see you
up,
again.
man?
Pasensya na hindi ka namin kasama sa mga previous Quadcom episode, naging Tricom lang kami.
Pinalitan mo nga ako for Ronald, nabalitaan ko eh.
Pinalitan ka namin for Ronald, but I think we're beginning to regret that. So we're gonna fix this thing. So let's do a one-on-one reconciliation. Ang dami natin pag-usapan, bro. Puro kayong mga viral ngayon eh. Viral si Edo Manzano, hindi si Edo Manzanas.
Oo.
Viral the other day si paring Mark Gamboa dahil si Vico Sotang na-scoop niya. Except, my boy Torre stole the show.
Right.
So, ako na naman ang tinitira ng tao. I was just asking if General Torre wants to do an interview also just in case once he feels safe enough. Kasi mahirap na baka may malusutan. And then, obviously, you, brother, you're doing so well. Grabe yung ginawa mong Nepo Kids series.
Yeah.
I was disappointed. I was expecting you to do like profile of the 20, like Nepo, Narcos, Narco Kids, ganon. Apat lang yata ginawa mo, di ba?
Well, the top 5. I did the top 5. Top 5 or top 4. Because sa akin, importante lang naman is they get the point. So, I wasn't there naman to try to shame anyone per se. Gusto ko lang ipakita that this is your profile of ano ba ang Nepo baby in the Philippines. Yung nakikinabang ka from the corruption that your parents have been doing, whether you're a politician or contractor, doesn't matter. As long as may ginagawa silang mali, dapat talaga ma-call out natin. So yun lang yung ginawa ko. And I was just trying to make an example so people will be able to identify now kung sino ba tong mga Nepo babies. So that way in the future, kung may makita tayong some, girl flaunting her wealth. Alam mo na, pucha, teka, sino ba tate na to at nanay na to? Ano ba trabaho nila? O kung customs pala yan, ay pucha, kaya pala.
Right,
so yun lang, that was more the idea and I wanted to show the background behind it. The people behind these girls that are flaunting. Interesting enough, sabi ni, I forget who it was, one of our friends said, bakit daw yung mga babae lang yung finisher ko, hindi yung mga lalaki?
Right.
Well, kasi yung mga lalaki don't flaunt like that eh. Diba? I haven't seen a guy...
Except,
Meron?
I have one person in mind. Edu Manzano.
Right. Well,
Edu Manzano, I mean, that guy, amazing guy, wonderful guy. I mean, what is your feel about Edu Manzano? Medyo outshining Edu Manzanas, our beloved Sir Ronald Llamas. No, like, he's all over the place. At first, I thought it's funny. And then parang medyo na-epalan na ako, nag-cliche na ako. I was like, dude, I think we got the point. And I think he's beginning to enjoy it a bit too much. I think like, nagpa-flex na ito eh. This is looking like a flex. Like you look at his latest picture this morning, 6 a.m. pa lang kung sino-sinong mga artista minahaway-haway ko. Sometimes I get into the mood, di ba?
okay, well for me, I have a different take on it. If you look at it, I don't know, it looks like AI to me, unless it's not. Doesn't
Kasi
it
he looks very young and
tignan
all.
mo, it looks very AI. It looks like it was AI generated.
Oh.
I don't think that was a real picture. It
Of
was an
Edu Manzano.
AI generated photo. But I could be wrong. But take a look at it. And you might be surprised if it's AI. Kasi nga, I mean, unless he really has a, was it a Rolls Royce he was in or a Bentley? I don't know which one.
Yung may Hermes tapos may umbrella.
Yeah. Oh, and even yung set niya with I think it was he was standing and
Construction site.
yeah. Pag tinignan mo, it looks AI to me. But again, I could be wrong. Ang point ko lang more than anything is, hey, he's having fun with it. He's poking fun at the problems with regards to corruption, with the Nepo babies. I think whatever it takes to be able to get the point across, I'm okay with. And if it's comedy that's going to do it, if it's through photos, posts, video, doesn't matter. As long as you get the point across and more people are made more aware about the problems of nepotism, and not just nepotism, corruption, then I'm all for it. So I'm not as affected.
Well, we already have Edu Manzanas. I don't think we need Edu Manzano anymore. And kanina nagtatroll ako, parang mirror, grok. Meron bang political ambition si Edu Manzano? Ang dami lumabas eh. May mga mali si Grok. Actually, I corrected him. Yung isa, yung anak niya yung tumakbo. Hindi naman siya. But, we know this is a guy who has had political ambitions.
Yes.
Na-disqualify lang kasi siya sa COMELEC the other year. But he was, I think, vice mayor or he tried to run for congressman and mayor in Makati. He did Senate, etc. So some people are wondering whether AI generated. The one picture na kinoment ko kaninang umaga, I don't think that was AI. That looked like really in a nice, posh place in the real. Pero yung construction side, the cars, I think that was AI. But my sense is like this guy is enjoying it too much and a part of me feels What if there are people who are thinking, I want to do my own Zelensky, right? Like I comedy my way satirically into power. Remember, that's how Zelensky became the president of Ukraine. He had a satirical series about being the president of Ukraine.
Yes.
Sobrang na-click. He ran for president and then he became president. So I won't be surprised may mga artista dyan nang inisip nila, let's juice it, man. I'm not saying he's doing it consciously.
Yeah.
But I won't be surprised some part of his mind is saying, maybe this is the way.
And what would be wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that except I have one big problem. So, speaking of Vico, no? I'm super glad, so I have a video about Vico dun sa ating Instagram and I'm looking at ang daming artista nagla-like dun. I mean, obviously maybe because he's a good-looking guy and everyone loves him, right? But, I love it. I love it that many people are getting involved, celebrities are talking out, etc. At yung sinasabi niya, dapat mandidiri tayo sa corruption, dapat denormalize natin. Okay, my problem with that is very simple. Like, yes, true, but medyo 10 years ago namin ginagawa yan. Napoles was 2013.
Yep.
Kahapon, or actually kanina I was posting yung article ko, parang going back in the memory trail, Huffington Post, 2013, October, November, I was writing about itong Luneta Revolution, which was more aspirational than reality. Yung 1 million people march.
Okay.
So my point is that 12 years ago pa lang, may outrage na tayo.
Yes.
Alam naman ng tao ng 5 stages of grief, di ba? First is denial, second is rage, and then eventually acceptance, then you move. Parang feeling ko, 2025 na, nasa second stage pa rin tayo. We're still in the rage phase. We're still not even in the bargaining phase, right? So, ang problem ko is, baka ang mangyari dito is, we'll just vent out some frustration, we'll just make some satire here, and then pag iba na yung new cycle, I don't know, Torre this week, next week something else crazy happens. The Duterte trial is coming soon and I hope to visit The Hague also to cover that soon. So, my fear is, baka hanggang keyboard warrior na naman tayo in outrage and cancel culture. We'll talk about your Nepo kid soon.
Okay.
And then we'll just stop there. And the reason I'm saying I'm not happy with that is because, first of all, I think it's a form of stagnation. Parang, okay, what's the next thing? And I'm not saying Vico is against that. I think Vico agrees with me that we should go to the next level. But I'm looking at Indonesia right now.
Yeah,
I'm not
bad.
recommending violence. I'm against violence. Baka na naman petition na naman ako. Meron na tayong petition sa Supreme Court. Mamaya, anti-terrorism, ano ba naman tayo ng mga tabad natin ng mga kalaban. No, but what I'm saying is, you see, in Indonesia, people got so sick and tired of the gig economy, the disenfranchisement. Grabing kurak. You think kurakot yung mga politician natin dito? You should meet yung mga politicians, man, in Indonesia. No offense, I don't want to name names. Next level, pare. Next level. Parang, they're like Philippines times 10, di ba? And they're a big country, right?
Yeah, they're big.
So yung billionaires nila is times 5, times 10 yung mga billionaires natin. So, anyway, and a lot of them have military background. Prabowo Subianto used to be a commander, military commander. Son-in-law siya ng dating dictator na si Suharto. Yung isang anak niya, medyo si Raul. Like, bro, you think mga Dutertes are, are like next level.
There's like 10 of them there. Parang
next
ganon.
level. And if you watch that movie by Oppenheimer about yung genocide na nangyari noong 1960s, 1964, nung pinatay up to 1 million communists in Indonesia or suspected communists and Chinese, you'll know this country has a very dark history. Anyway, my point is this. In Indonesia, even if mas develop sila sa atin, even if actually subsidize ang oil and gas, inflation is lower, housing is better. I know this. My previous partner, she was part Indonesian, Australian. So I used to go a lot to Indonesia and I familiarize myself with that country. At some point, the people said enough is enough. So when there was a protest, accidentally, or maybe not accidentally, yung isang policeman, binangga niya yung parang isang Grab driver.
And that was the spark.
That was the spark na parang the complete desecration of dignity and life of ordinary gig economy. Kasi lahat nag-go-gojek sa Indonesia eh. It's a very gig economy. Walang masyadong, good quality jobs. Like Philippines is a service-oriented economy. Maraming precariat, underemployed. And there you have students who are really activists in like 1970s Filipino style.
Okay.
And this thing has exploded. And as we speak, multiple cities across the country are really affected. Police stations are being burned down. A regional parliament was burned down. Things are so scared. But let me just short-circuit this. Prabowo, who's kind of like Duterte guy, he had to back down. And nag-offer siya to cut down yung perks. and privileges of politicians.
Bumigay,
And the very first day, nag-apologize siya for the excesses of the police and called for the investigation. So no denial, no parang any effort to distract. Immediately they went for concession, except I don't think it's enough.
Yeah.
So do you see where I'm coming from? So Indonesia, pare, at some point, alam mo pare, ayusin na natin to. I'll take things into my own hands. And my feeling is, we're even worse off than our average folks are worse off than average folks in Indonesia. GDP per capita income in terms of access to healthcare. My friends na Indonesian, they have universal healthcare. Yung nakasakit yung ama nila. They have.
Okay.
The dad had very serious condition. Para if this were in Philippines, 5 million bayad, he paid nothing.
Wow.
Ako, my dad got sick the other month. I had to pay 500,000 pesos for 5 days lang dun sa Like, so my point is, an average Indonesian has a better life than an average Filipino. And yet, they said enough is enough and took things. Now, I'm not saying let's go that level.
Yeah.
Sila level 10 na sila eh.
Right.
Tayo, parang level 2 pa lang tayo. Why can't we go level 5, which is make a strong movement, push for reform, push for change. Except last time I checked, the only movement we have is mayors for good governance na ang daming dynasties, ang daming mga ex-DDS or secret DDS, and then si Lenny ay nag-observer status na lang, understandably. I want to talk about that. Let's go about that. Good governance. Mayor for good governance.
Yeah, to begin with, it was, di ba, Magalong was the one who kind of spearheaded this
Shout out kay Mayor.
Yeah, this whole movement for good governance. It's a little bit, for me, hypocritical, to be honest with you. Kasi, I mean, when you're mayor for good governance, be sure you're not selective about good governance. Kasi, I mean, honestly, for me, Mayor Magalong comes across to me as a little bit of a Duterte apologist. Nakikita ko sa kanya, he's not willing to call Duterte out for the corruption that Duterte has visibly, blatantly shown. How he lied about his wealth, how, in the Senate hearing, nakita naman natin lahat yun, di ba? I'm sure Magalong saw it. I'm sure he's a smart guy. So why couldn't he call out Duterte? So for me, the fact that he can't call out Duterte reeks of a lot of hypocrisy. Kung good governance ka, lahat ng corrupt, call them out. Wala kang dapat sinasanto. I'm willing to call anyone out. Kaya nga walang masasabi sa akin ng mga DDS, yung mga sumusuporta kay Duterte, because they know I will call out any corrupt politician. But that includes Duterte. He's one of the most corrupt. Kitang-kita naman yun with our own eyes. I mean, all you have to do is mamulat lang mata mo at mag-isip ka lang ng konti, you will see it. So yun ang ko lang doon. That's why I understand why Lenny did not sign off on that. That's why she went observer status. I think it was almost just to to satisfy lang.
We'll see you in your events. Parang ganun ang dating.
Parang sige na, okay sa amin. Pero, if I was...
Which shows she's smart.
Yeah.
Which shows Lenny's smart.
Sure, parang makikisama ka na. Pero if I were that, I wouldn't sign it. I wouldn't sign it. And then they ask me why I won't sign it, and I'll explain. Because if you look at the people there, not all of them are really for good governance.
Daming dynasties doon.
Yeah, and exactly. A lot of them are just doing it for show. A lot of these people are doing it for
performative.
Yes, I mean, come on. This whole political arena is performative. Hasn't it been? Hasn't it been a performance para sa ating mga kababayan? Tayo ang audience na binubudol nila, dito naman tayo, next scene. Dito tayo titingin. Ngayon, nagtatawanan ng mga DDS nga eh. Why? Sabi na, buti nakatingin na tayo kay Zaldico ngayon. Nakalimutan na si Sara. Nakalimutan na, teka lang, may motion for reconsideration sa Supreme Court. Yeah. Biglang hindi na napag-uusapan. Suddenly, they're saying, well, Sara only took 125 million na naman kay Sara. Tingnan mo itong mga buhay na to 5 billion. Yung 125, yun lang yung nakita natin.
That's the tip of the iceberg,
yeah,
my friend.
Exactly. 612 yan. 612, million. Yung pa lang yung nakita so far.
Yung flood control projects.
Ni Pulong na 51 billion. So, ang dami niyan. So, please, don't get me started. So, yun lang sa akin. That's why it's ironic for me that mayors are calling for good governance where we know for a fact there are a lot of local executives that are also very corrupt. Pero ngayon, they're making everyone look at just Congress. Look at Congress. Look at Senate. Teka lang. Sa inyong sariling lungsod, yung mga pinuno ba nyo doon? Yung mga mayor ba nyo doon? Matitino ba? Sigurado kayo dyan? Pag-isipan nyo yan. Yun lang.
Can I make a counterpoint?
Sure, please.
Although people know I've been throwing shades already at our beloved mayor in Baguio. But from a position of love, medyo Carino brutal, right? Una, I like that he's at least transparent about the fact na feeling niya may utang na loob siya. both on my show, I interviewed him during elections, and also on kabilang channel, let's just call it that way. Inamin niya na dahil tumulong sila Bongo, yung administration ng pandemic, kasi diba Baguio tourism dependent kami. So nung pandemic talagang wala kaming tourism eh. And remember, this is the time he was also the contact tracing czar.
Yep.
So he was working at the very high level using his CIDG skills. So parang basically ang idea is dahil sa utang na loob, parang he feels it's a form of betrayal or medyo of, it's a bit off of him to attack the admin that helped his city to survive a difficult time. Of course, I don't agree with that, but I'm just saying, at least the guy is willing to admit that kaysa i-ano-ano niya. So I appreciate at least that honesty, even though I disagree with that form of honesty. That's number one. Number two, in fairness naman again kay Mayor Magalong, he's not from a political dynasty. I don't know kung yung ka-debate mo gusto maging next mayor ng Baguio, then maging dynasty na yan. But ibang usapan niya, malabong manalo yan. But anyway, going back to this, in fairness to the guy, nung panahon pa lang ng Digong, nung first time siya tumakbo, he was already on this good governance issue. And I'm from Baguio. So there are things,
sure,
but he was never at that level na, alam mo na. I don't have to name the names of former mayors in Baguio or congressmen and all. We had like Binay type people, let's just put it that way. He has been a huge improvement on those guys. And he's very smart, yes. So for me, when he started this Mayors for Good Governance, actually I was very supportive. And I'll tell you what, I think he even said that on the record, but he can confirm it. In a piece around 2019, I wrote, dapat mga star mayors ay magsama. And I mentioned literally him and Vico and a couple of others. So somehow actually he credits me with the idea. And for me, when he started it, I really felt it was, and actually I attended the event, yung launching of Mayors for a Good Governance sa UP Diliman. I was there. Minute ko pa si Libayan din. Nag-picture kami often after. So, my point there is, I think it started well. Ang problema ko lang is, the arc is suddenly not very encouraging to me because we have a good counter model. So you said it's a circus. I get it. But look at, in fairness kay Panfilo Locson, I used to call him Mr. GMRC dahil nag-aasaran kami ng election time. Wala daw kami GMRC ni Lenny, ganun. Remember, there was a time na press con siya with Isko, tinira niya si Lenny.
Yes, I remember that.
So, tinira. Anyway, we had some, whatever. But Locson is actually a very good friend of Magalong. They come from the same world, PMA people, PNP people. In fairness to Locson, sabi niya, tignan mo yung flood control project over the past decade.
Okay.
Kasi yun yung talaga pinakamaraming pera. Hindi yung past 2 years, past 3 years, past decade. So actually, if you look at the Lacson numbers, it cuts across different administration. So you can go and talk to Singson, the DPW Secretary of Pinoy, and say why X, Y, and Z. And then you can go to Mark Villar. Wait, where's Mark Villar? He's in Blue Ribbon Committee calling for. And then you can also go to yung just recently semi-fired, self-resigned Bonoan DPW Secretary. So, my point is dapat ganon. So actually, I find it weird now why he didn't do the Lacson way. And if you look at Lacson, hindi niya tinitira directly in Duterte. Ang sinasabi niya, comprehensive tayo. So I think there's already a blueprint for that. Bakit di ginagawa ni Magalong yon? Doon ako disappointed eh. You have a way out. Right?
Yeah.
The Lacson way. And may utang na loob ka, you don't want to attack directly, I don't know, Bongo or his family or okay, but at least say, tignan natin lahat ng flood control project over the past decade or so. In fact, you can go up to 15 years. We were having discussions about the next ombudsman, etc. Pwede titignan ng ombudsman yan all the way. So, for me, masyadong arbitrary and very selective and self-serving, I would say. For self-serving is actually the right term. Natitignan mo lang, kasi wala nang unit team ngayon. So, titignan na natin. And let's not forget, BBM himself opened up this floodgate of flood control discussion, and the guy deserves at least some credit for that.
I was actually going to say, marami dito na nagsasabi na, tignan mo, pinaka-corrupt si BBM sa lahat dahil itong mga flood control problems na nangyayari sa kanyang panahon. You're right eh. What people don't fail to observe is he was the one who opened the floodgates by that SONA. But when he said, tama na itong mga corruption sa flood control, blah, 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 mahiya naman kayo, bam, that was the first salvo. The next one, he even goes as far as doing a press con to expose the top 15 contractors. That's where we got the information that these top 15 got 20% of the entire 545 billion of flood control. And then he even went a step further to show that he wants to be accountable for all the BS na nangyari during his own administration, because he said, let's investigate only from 2022 to 2025. He could have said, let's investigate everything. So, he was gracious pa nga in that way. But at the same time, I want everyone to remember this, okay? Remember that this flood control issue happened all during the uni team. When they were together. So, nung naghiwalay na, dito na siguro...
So, may imprimatur.
Oh, I think this is when BBM said, man, these guys took advantage of me, my administration, to do all of this BS corruption crap na lumala.
Na nagsimula nung panahon ni Digong, some would say.
Yun, na nagsimula nung panahon ni Digong. And now that wala na rin listen, we've broken apart na. So, I am gonna just call a spade. And kahit sino na kinabang, we're gonna go after everyone. And if you're on my side and nangurakot ka rin dito na kinabang ka, then so be it. And I think that was the right way to go. So, remember what I said, nung unity was together. In other words, the Dutertes and the BBM were still together.
Shared liability yan.
Yeah, exactly. So, the Dutertes, I think that was part of the deal na, basta magagawa namin itong mga patuloy ang ligaya. Ayan. Tapos, nagkawatak-watak na, then BBM said, screw it. Let's just open the floodgates. So, I give him credit.
Yeah.
He is that, nagulat nga ako parang lack of a better word. Please, maybe if you can help me with a better word. He's that savior. I don't want to say savior. It's such a overstatement. Pero that's what I meant. He was the one that, we look to na, you're actually going to be the one to expose all the corruption? Damn, so be it.
Yeah, it's quite off-brand for Ferdinand Marcos to do the good governance stuff. But my
still,
point is, at least the guy recognized it, na isa sa mga dahilan na sobrang nag-underperform yung alyansa is because hindi nagtitrickle down economic growth, hindi nararamdaman ng taong bayan yung ano. So, naging very self-critical siya, di ba?
Yes.
I think a bit too much sometimes kasi may mga vultures na nakatingin And that's why I'm saying he has to be careful kasi kung hindi this is not handled correctly, meaning comprehensively, objectively and all, i-weaponize talaga ng mga DDS, whether soft DDS or mga real DDS. I mean, Sara Duterte now is openly saying, pa-investigate yung Congress na yan. Wait lang, medyo we can start closer to home, right? That's my point. So, as you correctly pointed out, again, Deus Ex Machina, yung ginawa ni Marcos biglang opening up the floodgates, but he has to be careful how he handles it. And as we speak, to be honest, I'm trying to convince General Torre to take up the czar for flood control because I know marami nagsabi after what happened to him in the PNP, he should just give the middle finger and move out and become a hero. I think he visiting yung si Senator Leila de Lima was a good gesture na kami ang mga independent people, para sa bayan kami, matapang kami, will not be... I wish him the best. I think he's gonna take a leave until the end of the month almost. Let him enjoy all the leave. He's still gonna be the only 4-star general at hanggang interim lang yung mga... But I hope eventually he moves on and moves up.
Yep.
Moves on dahil yung PNP has to make a transition. Hindi pwede na sa interregnum. So my best wishes to the new leadership. Kaibigan natin si General Torre because of his principles and conviction. Not because kaibigan ko siya. Because I think he stands for national interest. But I want the Philippine National Police to continue mga reforms na sinimulan niya. At the same time, I think he deserves a secretary level. Alam mo yung position ni Frederick Go? Yung na binigyan siya ng economic czar na pwede niya i-coordinate yung different agencies. Na actually parang super secretary pa nga siya
Yes.
Pwedeng gano'n ang bigay sa kanya, pero anything security and corruption, bibigay sa kanya. So if there's another ICC warrant of arrest, he should be there. If there's a flood control major arrest or investigation, he should be there. So I really hope, and my suggestion to him is negotiate a good mandate. And dapat hindi ito dumaan sa commission on appointments. Bakit? Kamo, yayarin siya ng mga DDS senators and all. So if it's a special presidential advisor Frederick Go style of czar, he doesn't have to go through that. He doesn't have to go through that. So, and my idea is, ayon sa isang lawyer na purong talo, ikarus daw ang nangyari sa kanya. Ako actually more like Phoenix.
Right.
I think people forget. There's a reason why we didn't know about Torre for a long time. Because he had some detours in his career. I'll just put it that way. May mga mali-mali din siya. In fact, he was somehow purged. Kaya nandun siya sa Mindanao. But he used it. He used that setback for a comeback with the Kiboloy and then Digong situation. And then now he's back here and strong. And I don't know what Bato thinks, but I think he's one of the best representation of what Mindanao can offer us in terms of intelligence, in terms of integrity. Just like Justice Carpio and Secretary Lorenzana. There are many Mindanaoan friends I have. I love them. I respect them a lot. And unlike Bato, I think he could be the next PNP chief who could also be a statesman.
Right.
Like what we're gonna see in Bato. And we're gonna discuss Bato in the next episode. So next episode natin will be about how Bato realized he asked the wrong question kanina. Like parang, kailan ulit kayo nagsimula mag-DPWH? Yan tuloy.
Okay.
So let's talk about in the next episode, bro, the Mark Oleta gold standard of very independent, very objective hearing with Sarah with H. Diskaya.
Right.
Without the British accent. We converse in British accent. Hindi siya nagka-converse. So on that, bro, some closing remarks before we move to our next beautiful episode?
No, that's it, man. I love what we talked about. Sana may natutunan kayo lahat dito sa pinag-usapan natin. And I wanna add also that kung may comments kayo, whether you agree or disagree with me and Richard, feel free to write that in the comment section below. Alright? Sige, we'll see you guys in the next episode.